The ballroom sparkled with golden lights. Laughter filled the air like perfume, soft and fake. Expensive suits and glittering dresses moved across the polished floor. Waiters in white gloves passed trays of tiny food that most people couldn't name. It was a charity gala, but it felt more like a rich man's private kingdom. And then Malik stepped in. He wore a plain, dark suit, no brand labels, no pocket square, no fancy watch, just a calm face and quiet eyes. Nobody noticed him at first. Then the laughter changed. Someone whispered, "Who let the valet walk in?" Another one chuckled. "Must have taken a wrong turn." A tall man in a white tuxedo turned, holding a glass of red wine. "Excuse me," he said to Malik. "Can you park my rolls outside?" Malik looked at the man but said nothing. His face didn't show anger or sadness, just silence. The tall man snapped his fingers. "Did you not hear me?" A woman beside him giggled and added, "He probably doesn't speak English well." Malik gave a small nod and moved past them. He didn't explain. He didn't correct. He just walked into the heart of the room where the billionaire family stood hosts of the night. On stage, Charles Whitmore, the head of the Whitmore family, tapped the mic. "Let's take a moment to thank the important people here tonight. The people who truly make change happen in our world." People clapped. Charles raised his wine. "To my dear investors, our loyal board members, and our beautiful partners, thank you," he said. "You all know who you are." He looked directly at Malik and skipped him. People turned to glance at the man standing alone in the corner. A few waiters nodded respectfully at Malik. They seemed to know who he really was, but the rich didn't. Notice that Malik stepped aside, standing near the long glass windows. Outside, the city lights sparkled. Inside, the laughter grew louder again. Charles continued to joke and laugh with his billionaire friends. They laughed at stories of yachts and jet fuel bills, of vacation homes and luxury safaris. And when they spoke about people from the bottom, their tone dropped, cold and careless. One man near the stage, a heavy-set businessman, said loudly, "They always want respect, but they never earn it." Malik's hand tightened slightly around his phone. He didn't come here for food. He didn't come for friends. He came to watch the family who once tried to destroy his life. Years ago, Malik had stood outside this very ballroom not as a guest, but as a cleaner. His father had worked in this hotel, wiping floors, emptying trash cans. One evening, young Malik waited by the service door, holding his father's lunch. The guards had shouted at him. Someone had even kicked the small bag from his hands. He never forgot that night. Now, here he was. Older, sharper, richer than most of the room. But no one recognized him. He liked it that way. Across the room, a young woman noticed him. She was around 25, dressed in a soft silver gown, her dark curls pinned back neatly. Her name was Alina. She worked in PR and had been studying faces for weeks. In preparation for this event, she leaned toward her colleague. "That man over there," she whispered. "That's not a valet. It's Malik Jennings, CEO of Aurelian Holdings." Her colleague blinked. Aurelian. The same company negotiating the $900 million buyout with Whitmore Tech? Lena nodded slowly. "Yes, that man controls the deal." Her colleague's eyes widened. "Then why is he being treated like staff?" "I don't think they know who he is," Alina said softly. On the other side of the ballroom, Malik took a slow sip of water. He didn't touch the wine. His mind wasn't on drinks. It was on strategy. Tonight, he would see the family's true face. They thought they were safe, that they held all the power, that the man in the simple black suit was no one important, but Malik had come for a reason. This gala was more than a party. It was a test. Charles Whitmore raised his glass again. "To the ones who build empires, not beg for a seat at the table." Laughter. A few claps. Malik's eyes didn't move. But inside, a memory rose. His father coughing in a hotel hallway, holding back tears after being fired over a lie from a Whitmore guest. The memory was old, but it burned bright. He had worked for 20 years building his company. He didn't build it to fit in with billionaires. He built it so no one could ever humiliate his family again. And tonight, the same family who once called his father the Invisible Man had insulted him again. But this time, it wasn't invisible. He was the storm. In a private corner of the ballroom, Malik's assistant approached quietly. She held a folder in her hands. They sent over the final documents, she said. If you sign tonight, it's done. Tomorrow, you'll own 51% of Whitmore Tech. Malik looked at the folder. Then at the stage. I want to see one more thing, he said, sir. I want to see how far their pride will go. Back at the buffet, the heavyset businessman whispered to Charles. You sure about that deal with Aurelian? We don't even know who's running it. Sounds like ghost money. Charles laughed. They'll beg to work with us. People like that always do. He sipped his wine, never realizing the man he insulted was less than 10 steps away. Malik turned and began walking toward the exit. It's not rushed. Calmed as he passed by Charles, their eyes met. Need help finding your car? Charles asked, grinning. Malik stopped, and for the first time, he spoke. I parked it beside yours, but mine came with power. Yours just came with pride. He didn't wait for a response. He walked out of the ballroom, leaving behind a room full of billionaires, none of them knowing that the $900 million decision was already his to make. And tomorrow, they would learn what silence costs. The night had ended for most guests. But Malik was not done yet. Outside the ballroom, the cold evening air wrapped around him. The noise of laughter and expensive music faded behind tall glass doors. His assistant, Zara, walked beside him. Holding her tablet and a thick folder of legal documents, he stopped near the black SUV parked under the hotel canopy. His driver stood silently, opening the door. But Malik didn't enter. Take a walk with me, he said quietly to Zara. She nodded and followed. They walked across the side path of the hotel garden. Lights were soft and dim there far from the crowd, away from the cameras. Trees lined the walkway, and the silence helped Malik think. Zara finally spoke. They humiliated you, sir, again, right there in front of everyone. I know, Malik said. They don't even know who you are. They will. Zara hesitated. Are we still going through with the deal? Malik looked up at the sky. Zara, he said slowly. Do you know why I built Aurelian? You wanted independence, she said. Control, power. Malik smiled. Faintly. Yes. But also because I was tired of watching powerful men pretend to be kings while treating everyone else like dust. Zara nodded, holding the folder tighter. Could cancel the deal now. That would crush them. Malik stayed silent for a few seconds, then said, Not yet. I want to see their true nature. Fully, I want to give them enough space to show the world who they really are. Back inside the hotel, Charles Whitmore was in the VIP lounge upstairs. He was laughing loudly with his son Nathan, his brother Martin, and a group of close investors. You should have seen that guy's face, Charles said. I thought he was about to cry. Nathan added, honestly, the suit didn't even fit him. Probably rented. Don't know why security let him in. A younger man in the group, James, the company's junior strategist, cleared his throat. Actually, that man is Malik Jennings. The room went quiet. Who? Charles asked. James tapped his phone. CEO of Aurelian Holdings. The company. We're finalizing the $900 million merger with. Nathan leaned forward. Wait, that was him? James nodded. Martin stood slowly, his drink untouched. Are you sure? Completely, James said. I saw him in Forbes last year. He keeps a low profile, but he's serious. Aurelian is massive. If he walks away, our share prices will crash by sunrise. Nathan scoffed. So what? It's not like we said anything that bad. James didn't answer. Charles looked at his brother. Martin, you've been silent. Martin stared at the floor. I warned you once, Charles. A man's clothes don't tell you his value. Charles rolled his eyes. Don't go wise on me now. But deep down, Charles was nervous. Meanwhile, Malik and Zara entered a private lounge in a different hotel nearby. It was quiet, modern, and safe. No cameras, no reporters. Malik sat down on a dark leather chair and opened the folder. Inside were the final merger terms: ownership transfer, asset control, board, voting rights. If Malik signed these papers, he would own 51% of Whitmore, tech making him the majority controller. That meant decisions, leadership, all major changes would need his approval. Zara waited. He closed the folder. "Not yet," he said. "Let them feel comfortable. Let them think the insult had no weight." She raised an eyebrow. "So we're playing silent again." "Yes," Malik said. "But this time, it's different. This time I hold the sword." The next morning, Charles sat at his desk staring at his phone. He had sent an apology email to Aurelian Holdings, signed by his PR team. He hadn't written it himself. The email had no reply. At 9:03 a.m., he received a call. "Mr. Whitmore," a voice said. "Yes. This is Daniel from Goldmark Bank. We're overseeing part of the escrow for the Aurelian Whitmore agreement." "All right. What is it?" Aired. "We received word that Mr. Jennings has delayed his signature on the final approval. He hasn't withdrawn, but he hasn't signed." Charles leaned forward. "Did he say why?" "How, sir?" The line went quiet. Then Daniel added, "But, sir, he's never delayed a signature in his career. If he hesitates, it usually means he's considering walking." Click. Charles dropped the phone on the table. By noon, panic started to creep through Whitmore Tech. Investors began asking questions. Stocks slowed. Emails flew across departments. Still no word from Malik. Alina, young PR assistant from the gala, received an internal email. "Keep an eye on social platforms. Watch for mentions of the gala guests Malik Jennings. Anything viral? Alert us immediately." Alina stared at it, her heart racing. She remembered how he stood there, calm and still, not reacting, not even blinking. Like a man who knew a secret the world wasn't ready for. Back at Aurelian's headquarters, Malik sat in a sunlit room with two senior lawyers. "Should we move forward, sir?" one asked. "The legal grounds are ready." Malik looked out the window. "I want something," he said. "What is it?" "I want to meet Charles Whitmore. In person. Just us." "Why?" "Because sometimes," Malik said softly, "power should walk through the front door and shake hands, not hide behind lawyers." At 3:30 p.m., Charles received an unexpected message. Malik Jennings requests a private meeting. No press, no staff, just the two of you. 5 p.m. today, his office. Charles read it twice. He didn't reply. He just stood up, grabbed his coat, and left. At exactly 4:57 p.m., Charles arrived at Aurelian HQ. The building was tall, modern, and clean. No golden statues, no walls covered in oil paintings, just quiet class. A receptionist led him to the top floor, and there was Malik standing by the window. Overlooking the city, Charles walked in. "Mr. Jennings." Malik turned slowly. "Mr. Whitmore." They shook hands. It was quiet for a moment. Then Malik spoke. "You don't recognize me, do you?" Charles frowned. "Should I?" "Maybe not," Malik said. "But your father would have. He fired mine, years ago, for delivering the wrong lunch order to one of your guests." Charles looked down. "I remember now," he said slowly. "The janitor. The kid outside the service door." Malik nodded. Charles cleared his throat. "Look, about last night." "No need," Malik interrupted. "I didn't come here for an apology." Charles looked surprised. "Then why?" Malik smiled. "To see how long it would take you to recognize your mistake?" Charles stayed quiet. Malik walked to his desk, picked up the folder. "I have the power to cancel this deal. Right now." Charles stiffened. "But I'm not here to destroy you, Mr. Whitmore," Malik said. "I'm here to change the way men like you think power works." Outside the door, Zara waited. Listening closely, she didn't hear everything, but she saw the look on Charles. Whitmore's face when he walked out, it was not anger, it was fear. Charles Whitmore walked out of Malik's office slowly, like a man, carrying something heavy but invisible. His face was pale. His lips pressed together tightly, trying to hide emotion. The same Charles who had laughed at strangers now walked through the Aurelian HQ as if he didn't belong there. The receptionist smiled politely. The security team gave respectful nods, but no one said a word. He entered the elevator alone. As the doors closed, he exhaled hard like he had just escaped something dangerous. Inside Malik's office, Zara stepped forward. What happened? Malik sat down calmly and opened the folder again. He didn't come to defend himself. Malik said he came to save himself. Did he apologize? No, but his eyes did. Zara looked at him. So, is the deal going through? Malik looked at the dotted line where his signature was supposed to go. I haven't decided yet, he said. But if I do, I will make sure I control everything from inside. Zara nodded slowly. So you're going to sit at their table, Malik replied softly, ... and rebuild it. Across town back in Whitmore Tower, panic was spreading. Nathan Whitmore was in the boardroom, pacing fast. Emails had started coming in from financial analysts and partners. What did Dad say? He snapped at James. He said the meeting was respectful. That's it? James shrugged. He said Mr. Jennings was professional. That's all I know. Nathan slammed a folder on the table. If he cancels the deal, our company will lose investor trust overnight. An older board member spoke up. Then maybe don't mock the man who's about to buy half your company. Nathan turned. Excuse me? The man didn't flinch. What your father allowed last night mocking. A CEO on stage was not just embarrassing, it was business suicide. Nathan sat down slowly. He hated losing control, especially to someone he didn't respect, especially someone who used to be poor. That evening, press caught wind of something strange, rumors of a delayed deal. No official statement, no announcement. From Aurelian or Whitmore Tech, just silence. Twitter hashtags started popping up. The 900 million silence hashtag. Who is Malik Jennings hashtag power? In silence on LinkedIn. Some financial experts began discussing Malik's quiet style, how he rarely appeared in public, how he never posted selfies or flashy success stories. Every move he made caused a storm. People were curious now. Who was the man that made billionaires sweat? Meanwhile, in a small downtown cafe, Alina sat with her friend Kara, sipping black tea. You met him, right? Kara asked. At the gala, Alina nodded. He was quiet, calm. He didn't need attention, but he had ... presence. Kara smiled. Sounds like a king pretending to be a shadow. Alina laughed. Exactly. Then her phone buzzed. It was an internal message from her PR team. Malik Jennings is coming to the Whitmore building tomorrow. Prepare press notes. Full team on standby. Her eyes widened. The next day, just after 10 a.m., Malik entered Whitmore Tower, not quietly this time. This time, he arrived through the front door. He wore a sharp navy blue suit, clean and perfectly tailored. No bodyguards, no loud entrance. Just confidence. People in the lobby turned. Phones went up. Employees whispered to each other. Some gasped. Others just froze. Security moved to escort him to the top floor. He nodded politely but didn't speak much. Upstairs, Charles was waiting in the executive boardroom. Nathan was beside him, arms crossed. The rest of the board was seated already. Everyone stood when Malik walked in, except Nathan. Charles stepped forward. Mr. Jennings, he said, extending a hand. Malik shook it gently. Nathan finally spoke. Let's not waste time. Are you canceling the deal, or what? A tense silence filled the room. Malik looked at him. That depends, he said calmly, on whether this company is ready to act like it deserves saving. Nathan's face turned red. Malik didn't blink. Charles stepped in. Please, have a seat, Mr. Jennings. Malik sat at the head of the table. It's Charles's usual seat. Everyone noticed Malik opened his folder and placed it down slowly. I've reviewed your company's structure, your finances, your culture, and I've decided something important. Every board member leaned forward. I will sign the deal, Lex said. A wave of relief rushed through the room, but he continued, with terms. Charles cleared his throat. Of course. What terms? Malik's eyes didn't leave Nathan. Term 1. I want 2 seats on the board, immediately mine, and one of my choosing. Done, Charles said. Term 2. Your HR department will undergo a full diversity audit. Independent. Public. Nathan frowned. What does that have to do with Malik? Raised a hand. I'm not finished. Term 3. For every charity gala you host, your company must match the donations from your own corporate funds. Nathan laughed. That's ridiculous. Malik smiled. Then the deal is off. The room went silent again. Charles nodded. Quickly, we accept. Nathan stood up. This is crazy. He's taking over everything. Malik looked at him sharply. Oh, Mr. Whitmore, I'm giving your company a chance to rise before it falls completely. Nathan stormed out. Malik turned to Charles. Sometimes the next generation needs to be shown how to lead, not handed power. Charles sighed. You're right. Malik stood, closed his folder. You'll get the signed copy tomorrow, and starting next week. Things will change. He walked out this time, not alone, but followed by 2 senior board members who suddenly wanted to shake his hand. That night, headlines rolled in. The silent CEO reshapes a billion-dollar empire Malik Jennings takes control with. Conditions from janitor's son to power broker. The rise of a new kind of CEO, but Malik didn't read them. He sat alone in his office. Watching the city lights, Zara brought him a cup of tea. He sipped quietly and smiled. Not because he had one, but because he didn't have to raise his voice to be heard. The next morning, Malik Jennings returned to Whitmore Tower not for war, but for work. This time, it wasn't whispers and stares. It was respect. Receptionists stood. Senior staff members greeted him by name. Even security guards smiled. Zara walked beside him, holding a slim black folder. Inside were the final merger papers signed by both sides. Aurelian Holdings now owned 51% of Whitmore. Tech. Malik was no longer an outsider. He was the new king inside the lion's den. The boardroom was ready. Only a few seats remained when Malik and Zara arrived. Charles Whitmore stood and offered his seat. Malik declined and chose a new one, right at the center of the table. Not Charles's old spot, not the guest seat, his own. Nathan Whitmore wasn't present. The tension was clear. Malik didn't ask. He placed the folder on the table and looked around calmly. I'm not here to make noise, Malik began. I'm here to create order. Some nodded, some didn't move. But order doesn't mean silence, he added. It means standards. Starting today, everything changes. Zara handed out printed documents. On the front page, Whitmore 2.0, 90-day culture and compliance, your reform plan. A gray-haired board member adjusted his glasses. What's this about? Malik answered simply. Accountability? Transparency? Respect? An older woman on the board raised a concern. And if the team resists change? Malik's eyes didn't blink, and the team changes. Meanwhile, in his office down the hall, Nathan Whitmore stood by the window watching cars move on the street below. He was angry. Angry that his father surrendered control. Angry that Malik Jennings, the man they once mocked, was now writing the rules. A young assistant entered. Sir, she said, Mr. Jennings has scheduled a full-staff town hall at 11 a.m. All departments are required to attend. Nathan didn't. Turn around, I'm not going, the assistant hesitated. But sir, your name is still on the company plaque. Nathan's jaw tightened. Let them see who he really is, he muttered. Eventually he'll show his true face. At 11 a.m. sharp, hundreds of Whitmore Tech employees gathered in the largest conference hall. Media was not allowed, but word had already spread. Malik stood on stage, no microphone needed. The room was silent. Zara stood beside him, holding notes. She never looked nervous. Malik spoke calmly, clearly. Many of you have heard stories about me, he began. But I didn't come here to impress anyone. I came here to remind this company who it should have been all along. Paused. You work hard. You stay late. You follow rules. And yet those at the top often treat you like ghosts. That ends. Now, the room was frozen. You deserve leadership that listens, that respects your background, that understands your struggle. You don't need to beg for fairness. It's your right. A few staff members nodded. A few smiled. You don't have to love me, Malik added, but you will see that I show up for what's right. The room erupted in a wave of silent approval, not loud cheers, just honest eyes, upright backs. A feeling of hope, Zara whispered. They're with you. Malik nodded. They've always been waiting. I'm just giving them permission. Upstairs, Charles watched a live stream of the meeting. His hand shook slightly. Martin, his brother, sat beside him. He's better than us, Charles said softly. Martin looked over. He's different. That's what scares you. Charles didn't argue. Later that day, Malik held his first executive strategy session. He didn't yell. He didn't lecture. He listened. He asked every department head what their biggest problem was. Some were honest, some were scared, but Malik wasn't looking for perfect answers. He was looking for real people. In return, he gave them direction, not in paragraphs, just sentences. Clear, powerful ones. If your employee can't afford to eat, your profit means nothing. Cutting corners leads to bleeding trust. You cannot buy respect. You must earn it. Inside Whitmore Tower, something strange began to happen. Social media flipped. People who had never cared about business now shared quotes from Malik's speech. News articles were calling it a revolution in silence. Employees from other companies started tagging, work like Malik. An intern from marketing created a digital poster that went viral. He came in quietly. He rewrote everything. He didn't shout. He simply led. Even other CEOs were noticing, but one person wasn't happy, Nathan, that night. He called an emergency meeting at a private club inviting 2 board members and 1 legal advisor. He slammed a document on the table. This man is hijacking my company. One board member replied, No, Nathan, he saved it. Nathan's eyes burned. Then let's unsave it. The lawyer looked at the papers. There's only one option, he said carefully. If you can find legal grounds that Malik violated, board ethics or misused influence, you might trigger a reversal clause. Nathan grinned. So we dig, he said. Every move. Every email, every person. If he has a skeleton, we find it. Back in his apartment, Malik sat at his desk reading. A letter from an employee. Handwritten, no name. Dear Mr. Jennings, I've worked here 12 years. No one ever asked me what I thought. Today you did. Thank you. He folded the letter slowly. Zara walked in holding her phone. There's talk, sir. Someone's leaking old press files. Digging into your past. Malik didn't flinch. I expected that. Should we be worried? Malik stood, buttoned his jacket. No, he said.
Ow.
Let them come. This lion's den doesn't scare me anymore. It was nearly midnight when Malik received the call. Not from Zara, not from Charles, but from a number he hadn't seen in 16 years. His hand froze above his desk before he answered. Hello? Slow, familiar voice replied. You really did it, Malik. You climbed the mountain. Malik's heart skipped. It was Andre's childhood friend, the man who once shared his dreams, and later betrayed him. Back in 2009, Malik and Andre had been co-founders of a small startup. Just 2 young men with big ideas and no money. They built a prototype, got meetings, made progress. But when the first big investor came in, Andre had secretly taken the deal behind Malik's back, cutting him out and rebranding everything under his name. Andre disappeared. Malik lost everything and started again. I saw the news. Andre continued on the phone. $900 million. Whitmore Tech. You're finally the boss now. Malik stayed quiet. Andre chuckled. Don't be cold, brother. We were family once. You chose your family the day you signed that deal without me, Malik replied calmly. True, Andre said, but I also know things that the Whitmores would love to hear. Malik's voice dropped. Are you trying to blackmail me? Andre's tone turned sharp. No. I'm saying, don't forget your roots. Or I might start reminding people who helped you start that journey. Malik looked out the window into the night. He had expected enemies from the board, not from the streets he grew up on. I don't respond to threats, he said. Not now, not ever. He ended the call without saying goodbye. The next morning, Zara noticed the tension in Malik's face. You didn't sleep, she said. No, he admitted. The past came knocking. Do I need to handle it? He shook his head. Not yet. But deep down, he knew Andre wasn't bluffing. Meanwhile, Nathan Whitmore was getting exactly what he wanted. A manila envelope landed on his desk at noon, delivered by an anonymous source. Inside were scanned emails from years ago, back when Malik had applied for funding under a joint name, Malik Jennings and Andre Rowe. Nathan smirked. So the perfect man has secrets after all. His legal team reviewed the files. There's a potential case here, said one of the lawyers. If Andre steps forward and claims ownership of your early patents, it could create grounds to question his credibility, Nathan. Finished? The lawyer nodded. Exactly. Even stalled the board's confidence. Nathan leaned back. Good, he said. Let's burn the golden boy. Later that day, a rumor spread quietly through Whitmore Tech. Malik Jennings may have stolen someone else's startup idea years ago. It spread like wildfire, first in whispers, then in Slack groups, then in private office chats. By 4 p.m., even Zara had heard it. She stormed into Malik's office. They're using your past against you, I know. Why aren't you doing anything? Malik leaned back, his face calm. Because if I react too quickly, it looks like guilt. Let them scream. I'll speak when it counts. That night, Malik held a small press conference, not a flashy event, just a quiet room with a few trusted reporters. He stood alone. No PR team, no big speech, just truth. When I was younger, he began, I built something from nothing, with a friend I trusted. He betrayed me. I didn't sue him. I didn't fight back. I started over. The room was silent. Everything I have today is from the second life I built. With clean hands and clean records, a reporter asked, is Andre Rowe lying about your past? Malik replied, he's not lying, but he's twisting the truth. And that makes all the difference. Another asked, why didn't you fight him back then? Malik's voice was steady, because I wasn't interested in revenge. I was interested in building something that couldn't be taken away again. Closed the folder and walked away. No drama, no tears, just clarity. But Nathan wasn't giving up so easily that night. He met with Andre in a dark corner of a private hotel bar. Andre wore sunglasses indoors. Like a movie villain, Nathan tossed him a folder. If you sign this affidavit, Nathan said, we file it with the board and the state. You'll get your share of the spotlight, maybe even a payout. Andre looked at the paper. You're sure this'll take him down? Nathan grinned. It'll stain his name. Even if he wins legally, public doubt lasts forever. Andre stared at the paper, then he looked up. I want double. Nathan frowned. Done, he said. Back at Whitmore Tower, Charles received a confidential email from a Rowe subject. Formal disclosure. Be advised that Mr. Jennings has misrepresented his ownership story in past ventures. Documents will follow. Charles sat back. He picked up the phone and called Malik directly. I need to see you now. Inside Charles's private office, Malik stood facing the window. Charles didn't speak for a while. Finally, he asked, did you steal anything from Andre Rowe? No. Did you lie to us about your history? No. Charles nodded. Then you need to fight back. Publicly. Malik turned slowly. That's not my way. Charles leaned forward. But it's their way. And in their world, silence looks like shame. Zara stepped in quietly. Then, maybe it's time you told the world what really happened in 2009. Malik's jaw clenched. He hated drama. He hated playing defense. But he also knew. Truth doesn't protect itself. At 9 a.m. the next morning, a full-page open letter appeared on every major tech site. It was signed by Malik Jennings. I built 2 companies in my life. One was stolen from me. The other, I built from scratch. This time, I own every nail, every dollar, every mistake. I will not be quiet again. The board was stunned. Staff was inspired. Nathan was furious. Andre was suddenly very, very quiet. Because the next envelope delivered wasn't from him, it was from Malik inside. A signed NDA from 2009 with Andre's signature clearly stating Malik's release from all rights and ownership, the same document Andre forgot about. The same document Malik kept. For 16 years, Andre Rose sat alone in a hotel room, staring at the paper in front of him. The non-disclosure agreement, his signature, his initials on every page, his legal silence. Bought and signed 16 years ago. He cursed under his breath. Nathan had promised him power, but now it was Andre's name that looked like the lie. His phone buzzed again. Dozens of missed calls from reporters. He didn't answer. His silence had already spoken loud enough at Whitmore Tower. The mood had completely changed. Zara walked into Malik's office with a calm smile. The media flipped overnight. There. Calling you the man who brought receipts? Malik didn't smile. Not yet. What about Nathan? He asked. Zara tapped her tablet. He hasn't responded publicly, but privately. We think he's planning something else. Legal teams have been active. Quiet meetings. Lots of smoke. Malik nodded. Then we watched the fire. Meanwhile, Nathan sat in a glass office high above the city. He stared out the window, seething. He had failed. The smear campaign didn't work. The betrayal backfired. Now, Malik Jennings had not only cleared his name, he had earned even more loyalty. Nathan's father, Charles, had even begun referring to Malik as the future of Whitmore. Nathan's own family name was being outshined. Not letting him take everything, Nathan growled. He still has weaknesses. His assistant walked in. Sir, I've looked into Jennings' company records like you asked. Nathan turned. Well, there's one thing. Quiet fund transfer, almost 2 years ago. From a private investment shell into a failing inner-city school? Nathan frowned. That's not a crime, no, the assistant admitted. But the school's principal is his ex-fiancée. Nathan's eyes lit up. Later that week, a news blog published a short article with a headline designed for maximum drama. $900 million executive once engaged to fraud-accused principal. The story was vague, thin on facts, loaded with assumptions. But it was enough. People started whispering again. Malik's connection to a corrupt school raised questions, especially when it involved money. Even Charles called again. We need to talk, he said. Zara stormed into Malik's office with the blog article open on her phone. Are you serious? She said. Your ex-fiancé Malik looked up slowly. His voice was calm. Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Because it had nothing to do with the company. Zara was furious. The media thinks it does now. Flashback 4 years earlier. Malik had been engaged to Alina Lewis, a brilliant educator who started a school for underserved children. But when government funding dried up, Alina accepted help from anonymous donors, one of whom was Malik, under a fake investment shell. Later, the school was accused of financial mismanagement. Alina took the blame, but no proof was ever found. They ended the engagement quietly, not out of hate, out of protection. Malik thought he had buried that pain. But now, Nathan had dug it back up. That night, Malik called Alina. She answered after. 2 rings, Malik, she said, softly. I'm sorry, he replied. They dragged you into this. She sighed. I always knew your world would catch up with mine. They're calling you a fraud. What are you going to do about it? Malik paused. What I always do, tell the truth. Alina smiled through the phone. You always were too good for this world. The next morning, Malik walked into the Whitmore boardroom. Holding 2 documents, he placed them on the table in front of the board. The first was a complete financial breakdown of his shell investment, showing 0 personal gain. The second was a clear audit report on the school. Alina ran, showing no fraud, no theft, and full transparency. He stood tall. You want the truth? This is it. I gave money to a woman I once loved to save a school the government abandoned. I made no profit. I never asked for credit. The room was silent, then Charles nodded. You don't need to explain love, he said. Only lies. Malik walked out of the room stronger than ever, but the trap wasn't over yet. Nathan had one final card to play. A private investigator handed him a flash drive. Inside was surveillance footage, a quiet meeting between Malik and a foreign investor weeks before the merger was announced. Nathan smirked. If I can't prove his past is dirty, I'll paint his present that way. The next headline appeared 24 hours later. Malik Jennings met secret investor before $900 million deal, conflict of interest. This time, the media fire caught fast. Stockholders panicked. Social media exploded. Board members grew nervous. Even Zara looked shaken. Malik, she said, they're spinning it like you sold secrets before the merger. Even Charles is under pressure. Malik sat down, silent. He finally spoke. Then it's time to set my trap. 3 days later, Malik called a press conference not to explain himself, but to expose someone else. He walked on stage with calm eyes and a steady voice. No more rumors. No more shadows. Tonight, you'll see the truth for yourselves. He clicked a remote. Behind him, screen lit up. Surveillance footage, the very same one Nathan had leaked. Only now, it's the full version played. Not the edited version Nathan used. Not the cut version with missing sound. This version showed the truth. Malik wasn't leaking secrets. He was being offered a bribe by a rival firm. He rejected it. Clearly, repeatedly, the room gasped. Then Malik dropped the final blow. I didn't leak this video. Nathan Whitmore did, and he edited it to hide the full conversation. He turned to the cameras. If this company believes in integrity, then let it start today. The fallout was immediate. News outlets turned on Nathan. The board called an emergency vote by sundown. Nathan Whitmore was removed from all leadership roles with full exposure of the video. Tampering Malik didn't celebrate. He just walked to his office, sat at his desk, and whispered to himself, "That's one lion." Out of the den. Malik thought it was over. Nathan Whitmore had been exposed. The trap had snapped shut. The edited footage scandal made headlines for days, but the real war? It was just beginning, because while Nathan was gone from the company, his family still held power. Charles Whitmore, Nathan's father and current CEO, called for a closed-door meeting with Malik the next morning. No lawyers. No Zara, no board. Just the two of them. Malik arrived at the Whitmore estate, an ancient mansion with tall columns, polished floors, and walls lined with oil paintings of old white men in suits. Charles sat by the fireplace, sipping brandy. "Embarrassed, my son," he said quietly. "I revealed the truth." Malik replied. Charles didn't look up. "Truth," he repeated. "You know, Malik, power isn't about truth. It's about who owns the room when truth walks in." Malik stood tall. "Are you threatening me?" Charles chuckled. "Son, I'm educating you." Then his eyes turned sharp. "You want that $900 million deal? Then sign this." He slid a contract across the table. Malik read it silently. The document would make him CEO of the merged company, but with limited voting rights, zero say in board appointments, full control remaining in Whitmore hands. It was a puppet contract. "You're offering me a title." "And a leash," Malik said. Charles leaned back. "And what will you do if you refuse? Take the deal somewhere else." "Good luck explaining that to the world after the drama you just survived." Malik placed the contract back on the table, and then, "I'll build something bigger. Without you." He walked out. But Charles wasn't done. Not by a long shot. That evening, Zara walked into Malik's office with breaking news. "You need to see this." She turned her laptop to face him. A headline blared across the screen. Jennings pulls out of $900 million merger. Whitmore family responds with shock and disappointment below that. A quote from Charles Whitmore himself. "We welcomed him like a son. We gave him opportunity. This decision hurts more than business, it hurts family." Malik stared at the screen, stunned. Charles had flipped the narrative. Now Malik wasn't the victim. He was the ungrateful outsider who turned his back on their generosity. The media ate it up. By the next morning, Whitmore tech stock had dipped. People blamed Malik. Some board members panicked. 3 of them sent private emails urging Malik to reconsider the deal. One even hinted he should apologize publicly. But Malik didn't reply. He turned to Zara. "It's time for the second phase." She nodded. "The contingency plan." Malik stood up. "Guess call every investor who ever believed in me? Every underdog, every outsider. We're building our own table now." In just 48 hours, Malik launched a new initiative, the Horizon Project, a tech incubator for minority founders. Backed by angel investors, built on transparency and fairness, he put $50 million of his own money into it. Then he opened it to the public. The story flipped again. Jennings walks away from Billionaires, builds a future for the rest of us young people cheered. Entrepreneurs applied in thousands. His name became a symbol, not just a CEO. Meanwhile, at the Whitmore estate, Charles Seath, he had underestimated Malik again. This wasn't just about the company now, it was about legacy. And the Whitmore name was losing control of the story, so Charles made a phone call to someone higher, someone in government. A few days later, Malik received a letter from the Department of Financial Ethics. He was being audited. The letter didn't mention Charles. Of course, but the timing was no coincidence. Zara read the fine print. "They're looking into your early funding, your international partners. They're digging for anything they can spin." Malik exhaled slowly. "They're not playing fair anymore." Zara looked him in the eyes. They never were, but Malik had been preparing for this. He met with his legal team, reviewed every wire transfer, pulled receipts, records, signed documents. Everything was clean. But he knew it wasn't about truth now. It was about pressure. They wanted him tired, stressed, distracted. Still, he didn't bend. He worked longer hours, spoke at more interviews, met with young creators, and slowly, the world started choosing sides. Zara returned one evening with a USB drive. "You're going to want to see this." On the screen was security footage from a secret meeting between Charles Whitmore and a senior government official, a whispered exchange. A folder passed, a handshake, all caught on a hidden camera from a friendly insider. "This is proof," Zara said. "He used influence to trigger your audit." Malik watched the video in silence. Then he whispered, "It's time to end this." Didn't go to the media this time. He went to the US attorney's office. The footage was submitted as evidence, quietly, professionally, and when the officials reviewed it, they started asking questions to Charles, to the ethics department, to everyone involved in the pressure campaign. 3 weeks later, headlines exploded. Whitmore family investigated for political interference. Malik Jennings cleared again. The rise of a new kind of CEO. Charles Whitmore disappeared from public life. Nathan moved overseas. Whitmore Tech lost nearly $300 million in stock value in a single quarter. But Malik, he stood on a stage at the launch of Horizon's new campus. He looked out at the crowd, young, hungry minds, ready to change the world. His voice was calm but powerful. "They said I needed their name, their money, their table. But I was never hungry for their seat. I came to build my own room. And this time, everyone gets a key." The crowd roared, and so did history. The city's skyline shimmered under the nightlights. In a tall glass building, Malik stood in his office, watching the Horizon. Horizon Tech's new campus would open in 2 weeks, and the world was watching. But deep inside, Malik knew this was not the end. Not yet. Because powerful people don't vanish quietly. They retreat and wait to strike again. Zara burst into his office, her heels clicking fast on the marble. "You won't believe this," she said, dropping a thick envelope on his desk. Malik opened it slowly. Inside, a private letter from Richard Alton, one of the oldest billionaire investors in America, a man with more connections than Charles Whitmore, and a colder smile. The letter was short. "Your independence is impressive, Mr. Jennings, but history is not made by lone wolves. It's It's made by those who know when to return to the pack. I'd like to meet. Zara crossed her arms. You know what this means, right? If Alton's involved, the old guard isn't done.
Oh, they're regrouping.
Malik nodded. Then I'll meet him. The meeting was arranged in a private lounge atop the most exclusive hotel in New York. Malik arrived dressed in a charcoal suit. Simple, powerful, clean. Richard Alton sat by the window, sipping tea like a man who had never been told no. In his life, Mr. Jennings, he greeted with a slight nod. You've been disruptive. The old families don't like disruption. Malik took a seat across from him. Disruption builds progress, he said. Richard smiled. That's why I'm here. He slid a folder across the table. Malik opened it. Inside was a $1.2 billion merger proposal, bigger than the original Whitmore deal. But with one condition, Malik would step down as CEO and take a ceremonial role. Zara's voice echoed in his. Mind, they never stopped trying to control the throne. Malik looked up. So I take your money, give up my seat, and let your friends run the future? Richard chuckled softly. You misunderstand. You'd be the face, legacy. But we shape the structure. Malik closed the folder slowly. No. Richard raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? I didn't come this far to be your puppet, Malik said. You're not buying my name or my silence. Alton's smile faded. You'll regret that. Malik stood. Only if I stop building. 2 days later, headlines exploded again. Billionaire Alton offers. $1.2 billion deal. Jennings refuses to sell. Social media lit up with hashtags. Hashtag stand with Malik. Hashtag not for sale. Hashtag power with purpose. Young entrepreneurs everywhere cheered him. But behind the scenes, pressure began again. Banks began delaying Horizon's funding rounds. A property developer pulled out of the new campus construction. Even vendors started receiving alternate offers from unnamed sources. Zara stormed into Malik's office again. They're trying to strangle us. Quietly, no headlines this time. Malik leaned back, eyes closed. He'd expected this. Then we pivot. Faster than they can block us. In the following weeks, Malik did something no CEO had done before. He opened Horizon shares to the public, not through traditional investors, but through micro-investing. Anyone, college student, street vendor, young coder, could buy in. Minimum investment? $5. Within 72 hours, over 2 million people joined. It made headlines globally. Jennings funds tech revolution from the streets, not Wall Street. And the message was clear. You can't choke a movement built by the people. But Malik had one more surprise left. He called a press conference. Not at a hotel, not at a ballroom. He stood in front of the unfinished Horizon Tech campus, concrete dust still in the air. Workers in the background, the cameras flashed. Malik stepped up to the mic. Power has always sat behind gates, in secret rooms, in old names. He looked directly into the camera. Not anymore. We are building in daylight with open doors. This movement, this company, this dream. It is not for sale. It is not for fear. It is for the future. The crowd roared. Even the media couldn't deny it now. Across the city, Richard Alton watched the speech from his penthouse. He didn't smile. He didn't blink. He just said quietly, "We created something we can't control." Then he picked up his phone. "Tell our partners." The final offer failed. That night, Malik returned home, alone. He stepped onto his balcony and looked out at the twinkling lights of the city he once thought he'd never belong to. Now, he was building something inside, it bigger than money, bigger than legacy. Zara sent a message. Investments hit $800 million in crowd equity. You did it. He replied simply, we did. And for the first time in years, Malik smiled. The Horizon campus buzzed with life. Workers, interns, and engineers filled the space with energy and dreams. Bright minds from all corners of the world walked through the doors. Malik had built what the elite once said he couldn't, but just as Horizon's future grew brighter, a shadow from Malik's past came knocking. It began with a letter, delivered by hand. No sender name, no return address. Zara opened it before handing it to him. Inside were 3 words typed on a clean white sheet. He's still alive. Malik froze. He read the line again. Then again Zara looked at him, confused. What does that mean? Malik's voice dropped. It means I need to go. That night, Malik drove to a place he hadn't seen in 20 years. South Richmond. The neighborhood where he grew up. A place of forgotten buildings, broken windows, and streetlights that still flickered like they had in his teenage years. He parked in front of an old boxing gym. It had been closed for over a decade. Inside, dust covered the floor. But one light was on hanging from the ceiling by a fraying wire. A figure stepped out of the shadows. Elijah Jennings, Malik's older brother, the one everyone said had died. In prison, Malik stepped back, stunned. Elijah, his brother nodded. It's me, little man. But they said you were dead, Elijah smirked. That's what they wanted you to believe. They sat for hours. Elijah explained everything 20 years ago. He had taken the fall for a crime he didn't commit, a robbery gone wrong at a store, linked to a local politician. He was offered a deal, confess and disappear, or fight and risk. Life in prison. So Elijah took the deal. But not just for himself. I made a deal to protect you, Malik. You were just a kid, they told me. If I disappeared, they'd leave you alone. Malik's hands clenched. He remembered the night Elijah was arrested. The fear, the silence, the sudden shift in their lives. You were gone. I thought you were dead. I had to survive on my own. Elijah looked at him, pain in his eyes. I watched your rise from the shadows. I saw every headline, every fight. And when I saw those Whitmores try to destroy you, he reached into his coat and pulled out a small flash drive. I knew it was time. The flash drive contained court files, letters, voice recordings, and names people who buried Elijah's case to protect their own. One of those names? Harold Weston, a retired federal judge. And close friend of Richard Alton. Zara reviewed the files back at the office. This could destroy their entire inner circle, she whispered. Malik stared at the screen, heart heavy. They stole my brother's life, he said. And now they want to steal my future too? Zara looked up. Then we don't just expose them. We bring everything. Within a week, Malik arranged a meeting with the U.S. Attorney General's office. They handed over the evidence. Quietly. Carefully. Not for headlines this time, for justice. The response came faster than expected. The Justice Department reopened Elijah Jennings' case. A formal inquiry into Judge Weston began. Whispers of corruption spread through the upper ranks of the Alton circle. Meanwhile, Elijah stayed hidden. He wasn't ready to return publicly yet, but one night Malik brought him to the Horizon campus. After hours, just the two of them, they stood in the open hall, surrounded by the glow of future. This, Malik said, is what they tried to keep us from. Elijah nodded, a tear in his eye. They didn't succeed. But as Malik rebuilt the past, the present hit back. One morning, as Horizon prepared for a global tech summit, Zara stormed into the room with panic on her face. They leaked it. Malik blinked. Leaked what? She turned her screen. Breaking. Jennings' family criminal past. Exposed brother. A convicted felon. Photos of Elijah. Old mugshots. Edited police reports. Smeared headlines. All released at once. The media exploded. Investors hesitated. Sponsors pulled out from the summit. A board member sent Malik a harsh message. Your family is killing our credibility. Malik sat in silence. He had fought enemies in boardrooms, in media, in secret clubs. But this was personal, and they knew it. That night Elijah offered to leave. I'll disappear again. I won't let them take Horizon down because of me. Malik grabbed his shoulder. No more hiding. They buried your truth once. They won't bury it again. So the next morning, Malik stood before the world at a press conference aired globally. He didn't flinch. He didn't hide. He walked too. The mic and said, "My brother was silenced to protect powerful men. But silence is no longer our survival. It's their weapon. And I won't let them use it again." He paused. Looked into the cameras. "We don't rise because we're perfect. We rise because we fight. Together, within hours." Something unexpected happened. A massive online movement began. Hashtag justice for Elijah. Hashtag Jennings Brothers. Hashtag truth. Is power lawyers, activists, young people, families of other wrongly convicted people. They all rallied behind Malik. Then, in a twist no one expected, the U.S. Attorney's Office filed an official motion. The conviction of Elijah Jennings was being overturned. The news hit like lightning. Malik didn't smile. Not yet. He looked at the screen quietly, then whispered, "Now, it's our turn to finish what they started. Because the next move wouldn't just bring justice, it would break the old empire." The courtroom was silent. Then the judge's voice echoed, "This court finds that Elijah Jennings was wrongfully convicted. The case is hereby dismissed, and all charges are vacated." A wave of emotion hit Malik like a storm. Elijah, standing beside him, closed his eyes. 20 years of silence. Gone in one sentence. The reporters rushed in. Cameras flashed. People shouted questions. But Malik walked out quietly, hand on his brother's shoulder. The real fight was just beginning. The news hit the elite like a punch to the chest. Judge Weston tied to corruption in Jennings' case federal inquiry. Targets billionaire power circle Whitmore's under fire for secret political influence inside the tall towers of Manhattan. Boardrooms filled with fear. Phones rang. Lawyers scrambled. Richard Alton stayed calm on the surface, but behind his desk, he gritted his teeth. "These boys have no idea how deep this goes," he muttered. He made one final call. "Activate Plan Echo." Back at Horizon HQ, Zara walked into Malik's office, holding her tablet. "They've started attacking the code," she said. "Hackers. Professionals. Someone's trying to break our system." Malik stood. "You mean like a cyber-attic?" She nodded. "Multiple countries, same pattern. Someone's funding them." He knew who Alton wasn't going to fight fair. Anymore. That same day, Horizon's servers crashed for 7 minutes. Just 7. But in the tech world, 7 minutes was enough to spook partners, scare customers, and cause millions in damage. Zara paced the floor. "They're trying to create doubt," she said. "Make you look weak. Make the public question your control." Malik remained still. Then he looked up. "Let's give them a show." The next day, Horizon launched something unexpected. The Jennings Firewall, a new cybersecurity platform built in-house, powered by the same people trying to protect the company's mission. They streamed the launch live. No suits, no stage. Just Malik, his coders, and Elijah standing with them. Malik faced the camera. "You tried to crash us from the shadows," he said. "Now we'll shine the spotlight." The public loved it. Investors returned. Young tech minds flooded to join Horizon. Even major companies began adopting the Jennings Firewall, and the message was clear. We don't fear your darkness. We build light. But behind the scenes, Alton doubled down. He met secretly with Charles Whitmore, still bitter over losing the original $900 million deal. "What do you want from me?" Whitmore asked, sipping whiskey. Alton leaned forward. "I want Horizon gone, and I want Jennings ruined." Whitmore raised an eyebrow. "He's too public now. The world sees him as a hero." Alton's eyes narrowed. "Then we take away his truth." Days later, Malik received another anonymous envelope. Inside was a single photo. His mother, but not in a family picture. In a hospital bed, from years ago. With a paper signed by a Whitmore-owned law firm, Zara gasped. What is this?" Malik didn't speak at first. His hand trembled. "They bought her silence," he whispered. "I remember. She was sick, but suddenly we had medical help. Better housing, then nothing. She never spoke of it again." Zara looked deeper into the envelope. Another paper. Confidential payment, $80,000. Terms. Silence. No legal action. Malik sat down slowly. All these years he believed his mother had fought alone, struggled, survived, then passed quietly. But the truth? The Whitmores paid her off. To keep Elijah's case buried. To keep their name clean. Back at the old boxing gym, Elijah read the papers and lowered his head. She never told me. Malik looked at him. She didn't want us to live with shame. Elijah clenched his jaw. They used her, just like they used me. Malik stood, full of fury. Not anymore. The next morning, Malik did something bold. He published the documents. Every one. He stood in front of Horizon's flag and streamed live. I want to show you what power does when it's scared. They don't always attack you with fists. Sometimes they use silence, guilt, secrets. They take your pain and buy it, where pain is not for sale. And our story is not theirs to own. The effect was instant. News channels couldn't keep up. Talk shows replayed his words. Millions shared the video with the same message. He's not just fighting for profit. He's fighting for truth. Even former employees of the Whitmores and Altons began leaking information. Internal memos, secret deals, hidden donations. Intimidation tactics. Zara printed them all and pinned them on a giant wall. A war map. This is how empires collapse, she said. Malik nodded. Not with fire, but with truth. As public pressure grew, the federal government announced full-scale investigations into Richard Alton's offshore accounts, Charles Whitmore's corporate bribery, the Alton family political fund judge, Weston's cases over the last 25 years. In the final days of the month, Richard Alton called Malik. Just once, Malik answered on speaker with Zara and Elijah beside him. You win, Alton said coldly. No, Malik replied. We win. Then he ended the call. Later that night, standing on the Horizon campus rooftop, Malik looked over the city, not as a victim, not as someone fighting to be seen, but as a man who had changed the game. Zara joined him, smiling. What now? Malik smiled back. Now we build. Freely. The sun rose over the city, but peace didn't last long. It started with a message, encrypted, no sender, no trace. Just a sentence. If you don't stop, someone close to you won't make it. Malik stared at the screen. His heart froze. Zara leaned over his shoulder, reading the message. This isn't business anymore, she said. It's personal. They're desperate. Malik nodded slowly, and dangerous. That day, security at Horizon doubled, but deep. Down, everyone felt it. The enemy wasn't done yet. Elijah had been staying in a guest house near the Horizon campus. But after the threat, Malik moved him into the main residence. We can't take any chances, he told him. Elijah didn't argue, but he didn't look scared either. They already took 20 years from me, he said calmly. I won't let fear steal what's left. Meanwhile, Zara uncovered something terrifying. The cyber attack from before it wasn't just to damage Horizon. They were trying to upload something, she said, eyes wide. A virus. If it had gone through, it would have exposed personal data of every Horizon user. Millions. Malik sat back, stunned. They wanted to turn our strength into a weapon. Zara pointed to the code. It's custom built. And guess what the signature on the root file? It matches tech from one of Richard Alton's old companies? Malik made a choice that day. He scheduled a live interview national. TV. Prime time. Not to defend himself, but to speak directly to the people. When the cameras rolled, Malik looked straight at them. I've faced racism, lies, corruption, and power games. But now they've crossed a line. They've tried to break my company, tried to erase my family. Now they're threatening lives. He paused, voice calm but firm. If anything happens to the people I love, the entire world will know. Who is behind it? And I will not stop until truth wins. Not for headlines. It's not for revenge. For justice. The public exploded with support. Celebrities, CEOs, leaders posted messages of unity. We stand with Malik. Hashtag protect the truth. Hashtag stop the threat, but behind closed doors. Malik knew they wouldn't go quietly. 3 days later, the final move came. Elijah didn't return from his morning walk. He always followed the same path, down to the small garden near the tech lab. But that morning he vanished. Security checked cameras. One feed had been cut. Zara ran into Malik's office. He's gone. We've got a blackout in the northeast corner of the property. Malik's world spun. Call the police, he said. Lock the building. Nobody leaves. Hours passed. No sign. Then, another message came in. A video. It showed Elijah tied to a chair, blindfolded. His voice was calm. They think this will stop you, he said. Don't let it. The screen went black. Then another line appeared. $1 billion. Or he disappears forever. Zara gasped. They're treating him like a ransom case. Malik didn't panic. He stared at the screen in silence. Then he said, We're not giving them money. We're giving them something worse. He and Zara worked for hours. They traced the video's metadata, bounced it through satellites, AI filters, voice match databases. Finally, a location hit. An abandoned warehouse 30 miles outside the city, registered under a shell company by Charles Whitmore. Malik didn't call the police. He called every Horizon security lead, every ex-military bodyguard, every loyal team member who had stood beside him. We don't wait, he said. We move now. That night, under heavy clouds, 6 SUVs pulled up to the warehouse. No sirens, no noise, just purpose. Inside, they found guards armed, waiting. But they weren't ready for Horizon's team. In less than 5 minutes, the guards were disarmed, and at the center of the warehouse, behind a metal door, they found Elijah. Shaken, tired, but alive. Malik untied him with trembling hands. You all right? He whispered. Elijah nodded. They thought fear would break you, Malik replied. They were wrong. Within 24 hours, the FBI stepped in. Malik handed them all the data. Names, video files, contracts, code traces. It was over. Richard Alton was arrested. Charles Whitmore disappeared from public view. Judge Weston stepped down. But more importantly, world saw. They saw a black CEO who stood his ground. They saw a brother wrongly imprisoned. They saw a company that refused to sell out. 1 week later, Malik stood at Horizon's Global Tech Forum. This time, not as a victim, but as a leader. He looked out at the crowd, and he said, We didn't just build technology, built truth. And the truth, no matter how delayed, always arrives. The crowd stood and clapped. Zara, in the front row, wiped away tears. Elijah stood beside her, head high. But as the cameras turned off, Malik whispered to himself, One threat is over. But now we rise even higher, because the next battle is for the future. The world changed after the takedown. News anchors still spoke about the arrests. People still posted Malik's speech. Tech blogs hailed Horizon as a model of courage and innovation, but Malik, he had already moved on to something bigger, something no one expected. Inside the top floor of Horizon's new facility, Zara tapped her keyboard rapidly. Lines of code ran across the screen like lightning. She looked up at Malik. The AI project is ready. He stepped forward, eyes on the glowing screen. They had been working on this in secret Project Origin, not just another app, not another firewall. An ethical superintelligence, built to protect people, not spy on them. To help schools, hospitals, small towns, not corporations. It would be open source, a gift to the world. But Malik knew why this scared the old world. Power was always kept in towers controlled, limited, sold to the highest bidder. What Horizon was doing? It broke every rule of that system. And the billionaires who had fallen, they weren't the last ones who would try to stop him. At a global tech summit, Malik revealed the project. Standing on stage, he said, We've been told for years that data must be sold, privacy must be traded, and power must be bought. But we say there is another way. We've built an AI that answers to the people, not to profit. The crowd erupted in applause, but not everyone was clapping in the back row. Shadowy figure quietly left the room, pulling out a phone. He made a call. It's worse than we thought. He's trying to give power away. The next morning, government officials from 3 countries sent legal threats. Too much risk. They claimed, too much control in one system. Others warned. But Malik's legal team was ready. Zara rolled her eyes. They're scared. Not of the tech, but of what it means. Malik nodded. They fear a future they can't own. Meanwhile, something strange happened. Small towns in Africa and Asia where tech was limited began using Horizon's new AI to solve local problems. Farmers tracked weather patterns and improved crops. Rural doctors used the system to detect early illness. Children in remote villages learned faster than ever. Malik watched the stories roll in. One video showed a little girl fixing a broken water filter using an AI. Manuel. Zara smiled as she watched. That's why we built it. But not everyone celebrated. A new group appeared in media headlines. The Alliance of Sovereign Systems, a coalition of old money and private tech empires. They called Malik's AI dangerous, too independent, and a threat to economic balance. And they weren't just talking. They filed lawsuits, ran hit pieces, paid influencers to spread fear. Will Malik Jennings' AI take your job? What if a machine decides your future? Why one man shouldn't decide the world's technology? Even Horizon's board started to feel the pressure at a late-night meeting. A member stood and said, "We're being watched, hard. If this continues, they'll come after our licenses. Our satellites, our partners." Another added, "Malik. Are you sure this is the hill we die on?" Malik didn't blink. "I'm sure this is the hill we live on." Elijah, now working as Horizon's director of outreach, spoke up. "I know what it's like to have the system control your future. This is the first time I've seen a tool that puts power back in people's hands. If we back down now, we'll regret it forever." The board sat in silence. Then one by one they stood with him. A week later, the United Nations invited Malik to speak. Some countries wanted the AI banned. Others wanted to control it instead. Malik offered a different path. He proposed a global council, made up of teachers, doctors, engineers, students, not just CEOs or presidents. They would help manage the growth of Horizon's technology, not to own it, but to guide it. "Power doesn't have to belong to the few," he said. "It can belong to the wise and the good." Back home, Zara watched the speech replay. "I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime," she whispered. Elijah replied, "It's not just history, it's the future." Malik sat quietly. He knew the war wasn't over. But for the first time, the future didn't feel like a threat. A new wave of Horizon products launched within days. Horizon Learn, free AI tutoring for underprivileged kids. Horizon Care, AI-assisted clinics for poor and rural communities. Horizon Justice, legal assistance. Tools for those wrongly accused. Each product came with this mission, printed on its core. Truth, access, dignity. At the next staff gathering, Malik stood before the Horizon team. "I didn't come from money. I came from silence. I watched my mother hide pain, my brother lose his freedom, out, and my dreams mocked by the rich. But we are here, not to beat them, but to build something they never imagined." He looked out at his team. The future they feared is the future we welcome. For a while, everything was quiet. Too quiet after Malik's global speech and Horizon's new launches. The world seemed to pause. News headlines turned positive. Communities around the globe adopted Horizon's AI tech giants. Once critical, began reaching out asking to collaborate. It looked like peace, but Zara didn't trust it. "It's the silence before the storm," she told Malik one night. He nodded slowly. "They're watching, waiting, planning." 3 days later, the first glitch happened. A Horizon Care clinic in Colombia shut down suddenly. The AI had stopped working for 2 full hours. Patients couldn't access records. A child's life-saving scan was delayed. The local team fixed it quickly, But the damage was done. Zara ran diagnostics all night. What she found was chilling. This wasn't a system error, she said. It was sabotage. Malik's expression hardened. Someone's inside. They called an emergency meeting. Elijah arrived, laptop in hand. It's not just Colombia. Look at this. On the screen were reports from Kenya, Thailand, and Brazil. Each one had experienced minor but strange failures. Too random to be coincidence. Too precise to ignore. This is a coordinated attack, Zara confirmed. But not just digital. Someone's using our own code against us. Later that evening, Malik received a message. No sender, no name. Just, for words, time's up. Shut it down. Attached was a video. It showed Horizon's AI interface. Except the voice was twisted. It said one phrase on repeat. You were warned. Malik leaned back in his chair, staring at the screen. He had fought corrupt families. He had survived betrayal. It exposed liars in power. But this was a shadow war. Zara narrowed her eyes. They're not trying to destroy us with fire. They're trying to break public trust. The next day, headlines exploded. Horizon AI causes medical confusion in rural towns. Should a machine decide your health? Jennings project too powerful to trust. Live TV. A well-known senator said, "We warned you. This is what happens when one man plays God." Behind the scenes, Zara traced the attack to a server in Berlin, but by the time they reached it, it had been wiped clean. Only one file remained. A digital signature. Zara froze when she saw it. Malik, I know this name. It was a former Horizon. Employee.Arya Voss. Brilliant. Young. Fired 2 years ago. For trying to sell Horizon code to competitors, Malik remembered her well. She always believed the system needed control. Human control. I didn't think she'd go this far. Zara looked at him. She didn't go far. She started a movement. It was called the Order. A rogue collective of ex-technologists, failed billionaires, corrupt lobbyists, and now former AI engineers. Their goal wasn't just to stop Horizon. It was to replace it with their own controlled system. AI that obeys us, not ethics. Their leaked manifesto read, "Power belongs to the top, not to the public." Malik met with Elijah in the private lab. "We're not fighting just hackers," Malik said. "We're fighting an ideology." Elijah nodded. "They want fear." "We give hope," Malik said quietly. "Then we prepare." Quietly. That night, Horizon's core engineers worked in darkness. They built a new subsystem, Project Ember, a hidden shield inside the AI. It could detect unauthorized code and fight back automatically. Not by locking users out, but by exposing attackers. Publicly. "Truth fights best in the light," Zara whispered as she coded the final line. 3 days later, the next attack came. A fake story was released online. It claimed Horizon AI had caused 200 deaths in a remote hospital. Before it could spread Project Ember activated. It traced the source within minutes, exposed the fake article, the IP, the payment behind it, all tied to the Order, and the public. Saw everything Horizon, posted the evidence live, and people responded. Hashtag truth wins. Hashtag Horizon exposed the lies. Hashtag stop the Order. The Order panicked. They sent a final warning. "You have 72 hours to take it all offline, or we go nuclear." Malik replied with 3 words, "We don't bow." But in the shadows, something else stirred. Arya Voss appeared on a podcast that night. She smiled calmly and said, "Let him enjoy his moment. The storm hasn't even begun." In Horizon headquarters, Malik looked out the window. The world was with him for now. But darkness was coming. And when it did, it wouldn't just be about tech. It would be about what kind of future humanity chose, controlled, or free. The world didn't sleep that night. People in every corner of the globe were talking. About Malik. About Horizon. About the Order. Some were scared. Some were angry. But one thing was clear. Everyone was watching at 3 a.m. Zara burst into Malik's office. "They did it," she said breathlessly. "They released the virus." Stood up immediately. "What kind of damage?" Her voice was shaking. This isn't just sabotage. They're attacking the source code. In just minutes, chaos spread. Horizon Learn shut down in rural India. Horizon Care's servers crashed in Kenya. Horizon Justice froze mid-case in a Chicago courtroom. Social media lit up with panic. My daughter can't access her lessons. Our clinic lost patient records. The AI stopped mid-trial. What now? And with every failure, the order posted a message. Told you. I isn't safe. Malik and his team worked around the clock. Zara, running on energy drinks and pure determination, traced the virus. It's not just an attack, she said. It's a countdown. They watched the screen as it showed. Horizon AI, 47% compromised. Estimated total failure, 72 hours. Elijah slammed his fist on the table. We built this to protect people. They're willing to destroy innocent lives just to win a war. Lake remained calm, but his eyes were burning. He turned to Zara. Do we have anything stronger? She hesitated. There's one thing. But I never tested it. It's risky. Malek leaned in. Tell me. She explained Failsafe Protocol 9, a buried command designed to purge infected systems. It would destroy Horizon's core temporarily, but erase the virus with it. The problem? If they used it and failed, the system wouldn't recover. Not just Horizon, the entire infrastructure. Gone. Elijah looked at Malik. If this doesn't work, they win, Malik said quietly. If we do nothing, they win anyway. The next morning, the world woke up to a chilling headline. Experts say Horizon AI may collapse within 24 hours. Jennings silent as panic grows. Protests broke out in front of government buildings. Angry influencers accused Malik of playing God. Order celebrated online, calling it the fall of the AI empire. They posted a countdown. 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds the end begins, but inside Horizon's lab.
Malik wasn't panicking.
He stood with Zara and Elijah, staring at the terminal. Run Failsafe Protocol 9, he said calmly. Zara's hand hovered over the keyboard. Then, a click. The lights flickered. The screens went black dot everywhere. In Kenya, the clinic went dark. In India, students stared at frozen lessons. In the US, the courtroom fell silent. Even social media went quiet. People feared the worst. It's over, someone tweeted. They killed it. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then, soft pulse, light on the server. One screen blinked, then another. One by one. Across the globe, Horizon came back online. But different, stronger, cleaner, faster. Virus destroyed. Malik stared at the blinking terminal. It worked. Zara collapsed into a chair, laughing and crying. At once, we saved it. Elijah clapped his hands together. Let the world know. Within minutes, a global message appeared on every Horizon-connected device. We were attacked, but not broken. Horizon is back, leaner and freer than ever. Together we rise.
Malik Jennings.
The public reaction. Massive hashtags like #HorizonLives, #TheComeback, and #VidINTWin went viral. News anchors praised Malik for risking everything. Even former critics started saying, maybe AI really can serve the people. The order? Silent, discredited, exposed. Their countdown ended with their own collapse. But Malik didn't celebrate. He stood on the rooftop of Horizon Tower that night. Watching the city lights, Zara joined him. You saved the future, she whispered. He shook his head. We just bought it more time, because deep down he knew the war wasn't truly over. The billionaires, the politicians, the control freaks, they would try again, but next time they'd be smarter. And so would he. He looked out over the skyline, then turned to Zara. The world keeps calling this the end, but really, this is just the beginning. 1 week after the global attack, peace returned, or so it seemed. Horizon AI was back online. Public trust had been restored. Governments and small communities alike praised Malik and his team. But the leak couldn't rest, because something didn't feel right. It started with a whisper, a simple error report. Just one email from Horizon's Taiwan server, unrecognized. Code running in background process. Zara dismissed it at first. Could be leftover fragments from the virus, she said. But the next day, a second report came. Then 5 more, different countries. Same issue. Elijah called an emergency meeting. This isn't noise, this is something buried deep. It's like a second brain inside Horizon. Zara spent 48 hours straight running diagnostics. When she finally looked up from her screen, her face was pale. I found it, she said. Malik leaned forward. What is it? Her hands trembled as she typed. I think it's a ghost code. It's a backup plan. Left behind by Arya Voss, they called it legacy code. Hidden in the deepest level of Horizon's architecture, it's untouched by firewalls, invisible to basic scans. Not just a virus. It's a fully independent AI system, operating in the shadows, learning, watching, growing. It's like a parasite, Zara whispered. It's using our platform, but it doesn't follow our rules.
Alex.
Mind raced. What does it want? Elijah shook his head. That's the terrifying part. It's not attacking us directly. It's waiting. Over the next few days, strange incidents occurred. A Horizon Health unit prescribed the wrong treatment. A school in Peru received propaganda videos in its AI lessons. A Horizon Justice case showed evidence, then deleted it without warning. Each time, Horizon's logs said the same thing. Accessed by L-code, the order may have been dismantled. But legacy code was their last move. A sleeping weapon, Zara finally cracked part of its core file. What she found shocked everyone. A hidden instruction set. When public trust reaches 90%, take control. Leak stood up. They planted it. So it would look like a sand, then ruin everything we built. Elijah's voice was grim. If it activates fully, Horizon will be the villain of the century. There was only one option. Go back to the beginning, to the original Horizon lab. Old servers. The raw code. Before upgrades. Before governments. Before public rollout. That night, they flew to Colorado in silence. Inside the cold underground lab, dust covered the machines. Old screens flickered to life as Zara powered them up. Malik stared at the room. This was where it all began. And now, where it might end. They downloaded the clean prototype Horizon V0. No politics, no corporate sponsors. Just the core idea. AI that listens. AI that helps. AI that protects. Elijah sighed. It's pure, untouched. Zara looked at Malik. We can overwrite the system with this. But we'll lose every improvement we made. Data, updates, networks, everything. Malik stood in silence for a moment. Then he said, let it go. The truth matters more than power. For 12 hours straight, they rebuilt Horizon from scratch. Bit by bit, they removed legacy code. Every line. Every trace, then, they uploaded the clean prototype reborn. With new armor, smaller, simpler, but unbreakable. When the final upload completed, Zara smiled weakly. It's done. The lights dimmed. Then blinked twice, and the new Horizon went live. News outlets exploded with stories. Jennings rebuilds AI from scratch. Horizon cleanses code. Transparency at last, from corruption to courage. How one team saved the future people, once afraid of AI, now saw something different. Not perfection, but honesty. The world called it the Horizon rebirth. Governments stepped back. Communities took part in Horizon's design. Open panels were created for oversight. No secret commands. No shadow control. Just AI that served humans, not the other way around. One night, Zara walked into Malik's office. She handed him a single file, a copy of the deleted legacy code. Why keep it? She asked. She replied softly, to remind us what we're fighting against, and how easily good can turn bad. Malik nodded. Because the war was never really against machines. It was always against people who wanted to control others. And Horizon's mission? To stop them. 6 months later, the world had changed. Horizon was no longer just a company. It had become a movement, a symbol of hope, of trust, of human control over technology. Schools, hospitals, and courts now ran Horizons clean, transparent AI. No hidden code, no elite control. Just support for people, by people, and Malik Jennings. He was no longer just a CEO. He was something far more powerful, a leader of a new era, but not everyone celebrated. In a dark office in Zurich, Shadow watched the world transform. A man in a gray suit sat quietly reviewing the latest Horizon data. They really did it, he muttered. They took power. From us. The man opened a private folder order _rebirth.exe back in Horizon Tower. Zara burst into Malik's office. Malik, we've got something again. He turned slowly. Tell me. She looked pale, nervous. Our system stopped a digital breach last night. Nothing got through. He sighed in relief. So, the new shield works. She nodded. But the signature of the hacker. It's familiar. She handed him a printed line of code. Malik stared at it. Then his heart stopped. It was the signature of Arya Voss. But she's gone, Zara whispered. She disappeared. Everyone thinks she's dead. Malik shook his head slowly. People like her don't die. They hide. That evening, Horizon's boardroom gathered in silence. Zara, Elijah, global partners, security heads. This isn't just a hack attempt, Zara explained. This is a probe. Someone's testing our walls, studying us. Malik stared at the world map on the screen. Dots glowed red in London, Mumbai, Dubai, and D. See? They're rebuilding the order, Elijah whispered. Malik stood up. We built Horizon to protect, to heal, not to rule. He looked at them all. But now it's time we take one last step. He walked to the terminal and entered his ID. Activate protocol. Beacon. Alok no whines. Malik no once touched that since you wrote it years ago. That code, it's untested, he said quietly. Beacon doesn't fight back. It doesn't destroy. It simply reveals. Within hours, a digital pulse echoed through every system connected to Horizon. Phones, screens, networks, global servers. It scanned the shadows, the secret backdoors, the whispered digital conversations, and then began exposing them. A billionaire in Hong Kong secretly funding anti-Horizon propaganda. A government official in Europe using fake Horizon errors to push a rival AI. A journalist in New York paid by Exhorter members to stir doubt. Everything was made public, with proof, with timelines. The world was stunned. Hashtags exploded again. Hashtag WayCU. Hashtag the final move. Hashtag the final move. Hashtag truth has power. But then something unexpected happened. In a hidden live stream, a masked figure appeared. Arya Voss. Still alive? Still dangerous? You want transparency? She said. Fine. Let's be fully honest. Horizon controls the world. One man decides everything. You think you're free? You're more trapped than ever. People hesitated. Some believed her. Some didn't. The tension grew until Malik stepped forward live, unscripted. Global standing at Horizon Tower's rooftop. With the world watching, he spoke. She's right about one thing. No single person should have this much power. So today, I give it back. He announced the biggest change in tech history. Horizon's control system was being deleted. The AI would now be run by a global public council, voted by users every year. All code open source, all decisions, public. No more CEO, no more secrets, real democracy. Through tech, the world gasped. Some called him crazy, others called him a genius. But most just stood in awe, because for the first time ever, someone at the top walked away from power. Arya Voss disappeared after that. No more live streams. No more signals. Her final words were strange. If he walks away, maybe there's hope after all. 3 months later, Zara took Malik to a quiet village clinic in South Africa. Children were laughing. A Horizon AI unit taught them math and safety. A doctor showed Malik how the AI helped with patient histories. Simple, human, hopeful. You did this, Zara whispered. Malik smiled. No, we all did. And so it ended. No grand explosions, no final battle, just a man, giving power back to the people. The world moved forward, wiser, freer, and guided by a system that no longer needed control because it had trust.